and welcome back again here to Briar's Gaming. We got another video here for you, but we've mixed it up a little bit because I thought we are due some different form of content today, and we're going with some tier lists. And I've seen this over with other content creators, and I thought I want to give my opinion on certain criteria and certain categories. So today, for my very first tier list, we're going with none other than wrestlers from WWE. I'm a big wrestling fan myself. I don't know if anybody else is out there. If you are, you're a legend. I haven't put these wrestlers together. This is just a list I found, and I've gone with, let's give it a try. Let's go to see where we put all these, and I'm going to put it as S, as in, you know, super, so like, these are the big dogs, they are the goats, in my opinion. A is world class, literally there, but just not quite the guy. Do you get what I'm saying? And then it's just B, C, D, and F, and then, and I will explain my situation and my opinion on these people throughout my criteria. I want to specify one thing. I am not judging them on their accolades. I am not judging them on anything else other than what I've seen. That is all it is. So people will disagree with some of my opinions on this. But for me, I've got to go off on what I've seen. And I've been watching wrestling since, what, early 2000s. So I might even miss a few out if I've not seen them wrestle or like that. So we will see. Alright? We're going to go start off with the first one, which is Seth freaking Rollins. Now, this guy, I remember the day, like 10 years ago, when he stomped on the ground, no pun intended there, with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, or John Moxley, united as the Shield. And I thought that was one of the most interesting things we've had in a long time, because we was going for a really stale, poor time in the WWE at this point. And I think they really needed this opportunity to like find something, a new fresh talent that nobody else knew. Because at this point, NXT wasn't as big as it were maybe a few years later. At this point, it was still a developmental center, and they brought in some good stars, but not enough for you to be like, wow. So I think it was really good what they did. I think Seth Rollins is one of the best out there at the minute. I wouldn't necessarily put him as the criteria as just S. I just wouldn't. I reckon he's got, like, still got, even though he's like 10 years into his tenure now, like, he's still got potential to make it that good, because he is that good. But I'm going to put him in A. I'm going to put him in A there. Got the Great Khali. See, the Great Khali was really intriguing when he came on. Again, I watched the SmackDown episode when it was the Undertaker having a match, and the Great Khali came out, and I was like, what the hell? Look at the size of this man. And for some reason, Vince was always into big wrestlers like this. And the thing is, you could tell with these guys that it was all just about how they looked. They was just big guys, and you couldn't get into, like, anything. You watch them wrestle, and this guy's got about 4 moves in his set. For me, I was never sold on it. I was never like, oh my god, the Great Khali. And to be fair, I don't think a lot of people were. It died down, like, the excitement about how good this guy were died down very quickly. I'm actually, no due respect to him, because I'm sure he's a great worker. I'm sure everyone had a great time with him there. I'm going with F, because I just think he wasn't for me. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan. See, the Bret the Hitman Hart. This guy is not just like one of the best, if not. He's in the talk of like being one of the GOATs, isn't he? But he's before my time of watching wrestling. And from what I did see, like, don't get me wrong, I know he had some banger of matches. I know it was to do with the whole, you know, Montreal screw job, which was like what changed the business in a way. But Bret Hart just wasn't for me. Again, like, I'm gonna put him in A. A lot of people might. Do I go in A? See, I might go B. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, a lot of people are gonna be really confused by that one, because I get it. This guy's a legend. I've got nothing but respect for the guy. He has completely turned the business into what it is today. I just wasn't sold on him. But again, it was a bit too before my time. This guy, at the point I started watching wrestling, he was at WCW for a little bit, and then he got injured. So I kind of didn't really see much of him. So I can't really give a solid opinion on this. But I'm gonna go B. I'm gonna go B. That's just my perspective of it. Like I can't really give a solid opinion on it because I wasn't really there around for like the main times. Triple H. Now we're getting interesting. Because I love Triple H. I love Triple H. Growing up, this man, God, I hated him so much because he's a heel. He's a heel. He was probably one of the most consistent heels we've had for years. 4 years. I won't even lie to you. Let me say. I really do think you've got to put him up there. I'm going A. I think he's another A one. I think there was just a few people that's even on this list, and I will specify that are just a little bit bigger than that, better than that. But this guy on his own individually changed the business, and what he's doing now with WWE as the head of creative, and he's doing a fantastic job. He did an awesome job with NXT. No, I'm going S. I'm going S. I do. I think that you're not even just looking from his wrestling career alone, which was world class. The guy won 14 world titles. He won 2 Royal Rumble. Like what he did to continuously get relevant and be over. Like Evolution, what he did with that was incredible. DX, awesome. But it's just about what he's done afterwards with NXT and now being the head of creative on WWE. Yeah, I'm going S because that guy's it's Triple H there. He's Triple H. That looks like Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam is an in-ring of ability, world class. World class. That guy could entertain. That guy could move. I thought he had a missing piece when it comes to like selling like as a character, and I felt like he never adapted to something new. I felt like he was just RVD from like the start to the end of his career, and I felt like he could have done with like I would have loved to have seen like a bit of a meaner RVD. And if he did and I missed it, that's my bad. But I really would have loved like a real strong heel, meaner RVD that doesn't like this is all done. I'm done with this. No more. You know what I mean? And I think it would have been good. I think he's incredible talent, great worker. That match against John Cena at ECW one night stand, great match, and he did deserve to win the world title. Yeah, and he was great. But I'm going B. I think he's an excellent worker, but yeah, I just want to sold him. Now, Chris Jericho. Well, you could say a lot about this man. But for me personally, I loved Chris Jericho, but he wasn't the standout when I first started watching wrestling. Like, he was the undisputed champion, he did all that. But then again, I felt like he was like kind of just another one on the card towards the end. And that's why he left himself. Like, if you watch the Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network, like, that's why he said he just can't be, he can't just be anyone and that sort of stuff. So, but I actually think his later work is so much better than it is then. Like, that year, 2016, him and KO, was some of the best storylines I've ever witnessed. Honestly, ever. They built that so good, and we all knew that it was going to lead to a match between the two of them, and they still kept us on our toes. Left, right, and centre. They teased that KO was going to turn on Y2J like 5-6 times, and they would not pull the trigger. To the point where people was like, we don't know what they're going to do. They're not going to do it. And then they did the Festival of Friendship, which I thought was incredible. I felt a bit sorry for him. Personally, for me, that should have been the world title match. I would have had Y2J, the plans were for Y2J to beat KO at Mania for the Universal title. Then like a month later, Brock wins the title. I would have been happy with that. Like, personally, I would have been happy with that. Especially over the fact the whole Goldberg... No. Is Goldberg on this list? I can't see him. But anyway, no. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm actually going to put Y2J in A, because I think he is an incredible talent. I think he does so good with his character, and a really, really good talent. And he's doing a great job in AEW. I don't really watch it, but he's very good, and he's really good with his character work and, adapting and stuff. The Big Show. See, for me, I've got massive respect for this man. This guy, you could tell he was just willing to do whatever he could for his boss and just put that work in and just get what he could go in for the talent that he's wrestling with. But he never really had a go in for himself. Like the only title reign, like world title reign, that I genuinely would say that stood out for me and I enjoyed was the time when he beat Sheamus. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was. It was like 2010, 2011, maybe 2012. I can't remember. It was around that area. Might have even been later than that actually, because I'm thinking Sheamus won the world title in 2012. Yeah, I want to say it was 2012 then when he won it. Yeah. Anyway. That time, because I thought they did a good job with him as like world champion. That they did the whole like punch bag thing, and obviously they did it where Sheamus would do the bro kick, and then Big Show would get in there with a big bag of punches. And I don't know, they just looked like a bit more meaner, and I think they did a good job with his world title reign. Personally, yeah, I think he's always going to be a legend. He's done a great job for the business, but I'm going C. I am going C. Ric Flair, woo! Sorry, I've always wanted to do it on camera. How can you not love this man? Like, again, he's well before my time with all his world title reigns. I never saw him live as World Heavyweight Champion like a lot of other people did. I never saw it. But we all know this guy is one of the goats. But even, like, the times I did see, I saw him, like, when he was, like, going against Taker at Mania, or he was in Evolution, on all those years and stuff like that, and, like, and even then, he was still awesome, wasn't he? Like, he was still awesome, even back then when he was in his 50s, kicking ass, and he was still over at that point. He had so much respect for everything he already did for the previous 30 years that he didn't even need to try much because everyone just loves and respects this man, and he was still the big dog, wasn't he? And I think he did a great job. And I love Ric Flair. I love Ric Flair. For me, like, if you go from, like, his... Again, I try to not judge this off his accolades because he's 16-time world champion. I'm going A. And only because of what I saw of him. Like, if you go off his accolades and what he's achieved in the business, he's arguably one of the greatest to ever live. But I'm going off what I saw. And I love Ric Flair, but I'm going A. AJ Styles. Now, I love this guy. This guy is one of the most gifted wrestlers I've ever seen. I'm just judging this off a WWE career. And I think he has done an incredible job with WWE. I think more of his well-known days will always be TNA. He's had some great matches in WWE as well. I remember one a few years ago. It was about 4 or 5 years ago now. I want to say it's like 2018, 2019, and we had TLC. It was the same night when Dean Ambrose was out ill or something, so they had to have Kurt Angle coming in the Shield. That same night, I think it's meant to be Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, and I think Bray Wyatt went off ill as well. And they brought in AJ. Let's bear this in mind, this is a Raw pay-per-view, where they brought in AJ from SmackDown. I remember that match. That match was so good. And that just shows how good of a talent both of them are. I think from his whole career and whole thing, I think they did a great job with the Boneyard match with Taker. That was a great build-up. Fantastic way to send off one of the greatest of all time in Undertaker. I'm going to go B. I think I'm trying to go this from... I'm not trying to judge this from just in ring. I'm not just trying to judge this from like accolades, and I'm not even trying to do this from just character work. I think you got to look at it from the perspective of what they have done in WWE for WWE, and I think you can't really, at the minute, from what we've seen, you can't really judge any of it other than Triple H has literally changed the WWE for so many reasons, and he's done it so good, and that's why I've got to put him there. Kevin Nash. Most of it was a bit before my time. I don't really watch WCW, so I didn't really see that. Obviously, I know how good and how big the NWO were. They were very, very, career changing, and they did fantastic stuff for the business. Never sold Kevin Nash, even when they brought him back. You know, the whole feud with CM Punk, like 2014 time, 2013 time. Never did out for me. like, I've got nothing but respect for the man. I think he's obviously done a terrific job. I'm gonna go. I don't think he's as low as Khali. I'm gonna go D though. He's a great worker. I'm sure a lot of people was a big fan of him, but for me, he won for me. Alberto Del Rio. Again, another one. Didn't see it. Didn't see the world class potential in this guy. Like because they put the rockets on this man as well. They pushed this man to the top. This guy won the Royal Rumble. This guy won Money in the Bank. This guy won like 3-4 world titles on his first tenure before he came back, and didn't really work out as much. But I think the second time he came back, they just realised that it's just not there, and this guy's just not it. I don't know. I didn't see the work ethic that maybe, you know, he might have had it behind the scenes. I don't know that, but I didn't see it personally myself. So I'm gonna go in D as well. I just want sold on him. Just want sold on him. Whoa! We're going with a big dog next. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm gonna sit here and say one thing time. When that glass breaks, there is no bigger pop in WWE ever than when that man walks out. That guy, in my opinion, is the biggest box office in wrestling history. That's me. That is my opinion. What this man did during the Attitude Era against Vince McMahon was some of the best storytelling in history. Like, this man won 3 Royal Rumbles, and even on the 3rd one, people still love this man and was buzzing that this man won it. At this point, he won 3 Royal Rumbles in 5 years, and people still wasn't bored. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, this man is an S. The GOAT. The GOAT. What a guy. Baron Corbin. There's just something missing with him. Because I feel like he's a great heel. He is very good at getting heat. He is very good at being that heel. But there's a missing piece. And they're doing that at the minute, currently in time at the minute. This whole JBL storyline. And I'm just not sold on it. I'm just not sold on any of it. So for me, no. I don't know. I feel like he's got it. I feel like he's got potential. But then I also think potential don't really know if it can become something. Like the Lone Wolf won't vote for me. I know they give him like the Money in the Bank. But then they clearly didn't see much about him if they didn't put the title on him. Or have put the title on him since. There's something missing from Baron Corbin. I can't figure out what it is. I'm putting him in the D category as well. Hulk Hogan. See, I love Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. Like, he was very towards his end, you know. I'm like, the main match that I kind of highlights for me, and this is, again, because obviously I started, like, you know, early 2000s, like, very early 2000s. I've got a few matches like The Rock and Hulk Hogan. What a match that was. But the one I really liked was the Shawn Michaels heel turn on Hulk Hogan, and they had that match at SummerSlam. Incredible match. Incredible match. I think what Shawn Michaels did was incredible. He was so good with, like, as a heel. But Shawn Michaels is just something else. But you know what? I've just seen on this list. I don't think Shawn Michaels is even on the list. And I just think that's tragic. Because that man is, like, I'm going to specify that quick one thing. That man is the greatest wrestler to ever enter the ring. When I come into storytelling in the ring, he is magical. But anyway, back to Hulk Hogan. I think we can all sit here and say Hulk Hogan's one of the GOATs. You can say that he's in like top 5 category of some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I'm not putting him in S. I'm not. I'm going to put him in A. I will put him in A because I think he is that good. But I also think he was an extremely selfish wrestler. Always put himself over. Don't wrong. I know he would have helped some others and that sort of stuff, but his mind, like, even when he was putting people over, I always felt like he was, like, still doing it for the benefit of other people as well. Like, not for himself, sorry. I still feel like part of the benefit was for himself as well. Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley. I love Dean Ambrose. Back in 2016, him and AJ Styles storyline was awesome. He was great. I actually thought he were the right guy to be, like, the head of the Shield, which he were because he was US champ, whilst the other two were tag champs. And then from, like, the 3 of them, Like, as soon as they all went separate, they kind of just preferred Roman and Seth. And I love both of them. They're incredible. But Dean was just always something. Like, I always loved his storylines. I always loved what he did. I am going to put Dean Ambrose in B. Because that Money in the Bank title win was awesome, and I felt like that was well deserved. And I remember watching the Raw after, the day after, and they started the show off with him getting out of taxi and he gets his world title, and you can just tell how happy he is the fact that he's won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I thought that was awesome. So, but he's a B. I think, like, you know, if you ask me this maybe in like 10 years' time, if he returns to WWE at some point, then absolutely. What he's doing with AEW is incredible. He's kind of carrying that. He was carrying that towards like last summer, wasn't he? With the whole CM Punk thing that went on. But yeah, he's awesome. Now, to be fair, speaking of CM Punk, we are on now CM Punk. Bit of a chip on his shoulder, didn't he? We know what he's like. Bit of a troublemaker. I did love CM Punk. I did love CM Punk, and I think he is. Honestly, his last title reign that he had was, you know, breathtaking. To be fair, him and Paul Heyman were money. They were so good on the mic, both of them. They were so good with charisma and working together. And honestly, absolutely awesome job what he did towards especially towards the end. Even that storyline with Vince and John Cena and Money in the Bank, and he got that 5-star match. Like, from his tenure, it's the reason why people continue to still speak about CM Punk. I'm going. What do I go? B or A? B or A? I'm gonna put him in B. I love CM Punk, and I think he did a great job. He obviously kind of ruined his own reputation at AEW, but I'm trying to not judge that whatsoever. Like, I think he was awesome, but he was never the guy, and I don't think he ever was going to be, and I don't think he could ever accept that. He was clearly good enough to be the guy, but there was, I don't know, there was just something missing. Rey Mysterio. Love Rey Mysterio. Love Rey Mysterio. This man is the ultimate underdog. The ultimate underdog. That 2006 Royal Rumble win was magical. Magical. I loved that Royal. Still to this day one of my favorite ever Royal Rumble matches to date. And that was what, 17 years ago? I remember watching that. Man, that was 17 years ago. That's mental. See, for me though, I just felt like he had some great rivalries. He did a great job early days. To be fair, that one with CM Punk was awesome. You know, the whole hair mask match, like, that was great. Him and Batista. There was some really, really good feuds there. I think he had a good title reign with his world title. He obviously, his WWE title, he lasted like that same day. I think John Cena beat him, didn't he? So I love Rey Mysterio, and I would have loved him to have a few more title reigns because he was that good in the ring. I'm going B again. I know I'm playing it a bit safe with all these, but I think, you know what I loved with Rey Mysterio is, again, to be like a bit like Rob Van Dam, where he's like just a bit meaner. He just needed a bit meaner, and I just feel like, and the thing is, it could still come. This Dominic storyline they're doing at the minute with him and Rhea Ripley and all that lot, they could, but I would love to see a meaner Rey Mysterio turn heel. Because has he ever turned heel? I don't think he has. I don't think he's ever turned heel. The Rock. Straight to the top. This man was so goddamn over as well. Like, I always feel like in WWE you always have the guy. Like, there were Hulk Hogan back in the day. There was John Cena not long ago. Now we've got Roman Reigns. But at this point in time, we had Stone Cold and The Rock, both as the guy. Both. The Rock is so good at getting over with the crowd. He's so good at just timing. Like, even when he used to do all this, it was just so good. And even it was like, honestly, amazing on the mic. So good at selling moves and making other wrestlers look really good. That Rock Austin match, I want to say, was it 19? Was it 19? Or was it 18? I can't remember. But yeah, back then, great. The Rock was my favourite wrestler growing up as a kid. Yeah, absolutely loved him. Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, now known. Obviously, that's his actual name, Bryan Danielson. But Daniel Bryan is named in WWE. And I love it. I love him. And his wrestling ability, again, was incredible. I think he did a great job. The whole Yes Movement thing was like some of the best storylines we've had over the last 10 years. It was awesome. And him getting the final payoff at WrestleMania 30 was nothing but deserved. Awesome. I'm actually going to put him, in my opinion, above criteria B. I am. I'm putting him in A. Because I actually think Daniel Bryan did so good. Because you could clearly tell that when they did that whole storyline with the whole Yes Movement storyline from like SummerSlam, where he just got over so well. They even did that Team Hell No thing just before, didn't they, with Kane, and that was ace. That was some of my favourite tag team like experience ever. And he did so good at getting over with the crowd. He was legitimately over as well. It wasn't even this talk about, oh yeah, the crowd like him. He was over. This guy got over incredibly. And what he did was awesome. Unfortunately, he had a lot of injuries against him and stuff like that. And I don't think higher ups was like sold on him being the guy this entire time. That's why original plans were for Batista and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. But no one wanted that, and we pushed through and we got it. And I feel like his moment that year alone puts him above those guys there. And again, this is just all my opinion. I'm putting Edge in A because he's the ultimate heel, in my opinion. I do. I think when I think of heel, I think of Edge or Triple H. They're my two guys that I turn to when it comes to heel. There's nobody that is better when it comes to his mic work. I think he is definitely one of the best. But like his emotion was just so raw, and you felt every word when he spoke. I would have loved for him to be in the Judgment Day a little bit longer. They had to pull the plug because obviously Cody got injured and turning face again because he didn't really have a big baby face on Raw. But I'm gutted because I would have loved to see him as the leader of Judgment Day for a bit longer because I think he would have done a terrific job with it. Honestly, he would have done so good. It would have been something special. John Cena. Talk about big match John. The thing is about John Cena is, yeah, we know he got everything that he wanted. But that guy was the hardest working wrestler I have ever seen in my life. He was at everything. He would do anything. The guy put absolutely 1,000% effort into every single thing he did. John Cena, in my opinion, is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. Like, I'd honestly generally say the top four are two of my favourite wrestlers to date. Like, especially when I really got into wrestling towards when he won his first world title back in 2005. He was so good. He was so good. And for my opinion, John Cena is the S tier no matter what. There is also, I've just realised, 2 Kanes on this, so we'll only do it with one. I guess you probably could judge it from one Kane to the other. I'm going to just go with the mask one. I love Kane, and I think they dropped the ball on how good that was. Kane, it was another Undertaker, and they dropped the ball. I think maybe Kane was a bit too generous with helping others and getting people over and losing matches here and there. But they dropped the ball with Kane, and they had another Undertaker in their belt, and he was up there for one of the greatest characters in history. I'm going to put him in B. I think if he had a bit stronger category and stronger criteria of what he did, we could have absolutely put him in the conversation for A. Easily. I've got nothing but respect for Kane. What a guy. Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar! I love Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. I was never a fan of the idea of him being world champion and then we wouldn't see him every few months. Like, you know, it frustrated me. But his work over the last, year and a half since he came back at that time at SummerSlam, and he had the beard and he had his hair and he was like a bit of a farmer. In my opinion, his best character work to date. And he's always kind of been able to get over his wrestling ability. He is explosive. A man that big should never be that fast. He is disgustingly good. But what his character work, you know what I did like? When he won the Money in the Bank. 'Cause I was never a fan of him winning the Money Bank. At that time, I really thought Mustafa Ali did a great job of getting over, and they really should have pulled the plug on him winning that. But they just gave it to Brock, and I was like, God, this is going to be crap. He'll just get on Seth dead quick, and then, you know, he'll have the world champion again after he's just lost it at Mania. Which, fair enough, he did win it, but then he lost it like a month later, so it was okay. But it was the whole boombox thing when he came out and he had it like this, and he actually got it as like a boombox at one point. I thought that was ace. So good at that. Brock Lesnar for me is an A. I think his in-ring of ability, what he's done for the business, even going to it, like leaving after a couple of years, doing his own thing, coming back. Obviously, he won the UFC world title, didn't he? And then come back, and I think he's done a terrific job. Some of the best wrestling. Like, I always think his wrestling ability is always so much better when you watch him against, say, like if you watch him against like the smaller guys. If you like, AJ versus Brock was great. Daniel Bryan versus Brock was great as well. Kurt Angle, one of the most technically gifted wrestlers again, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Again, you can't really judge too much of his wrestling career in WWE because he spent most of his career actually like in TNA. What I did see was awesome. I'm going to go B just because he wasn't there for, like, you know, I've really got into it. Like, I saw quite a lot of it, like, towards the early 2000s, but then he was gone by, like, 06? 07 he left? Was it something like that? And then he went back to, like, 2018, 2019. So, like, for that point, it was like, yeah, I just, you know, I love Kurt Angle. Big fan of Kurt Angle. Some of the best wrestling you'll ever see. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21. Arguably the greatest WrestleMania match to date. Unbelievable match, that. But I just think from, like, the lack of, like, what I saw of him towards, like, you know, if he stayed in WWE, we could have been very, very different, and we could have been looking at a multi-world champion, like, into double figures, everything. This guy's a Hall of Famer regardless. We know this because he's that good. But, obviously, he went to TNA, and I kind of wish we could have seen more of him. Randy Orton. Again, another one technically gifted. I'm going A. I absolutely love Randy Orton. He's one of the guys left in the business. I think the last one I can think of other than him, if you exclude like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, that's like come back and doing the whole booking thing. He's one of the guys other than Undertaker that literally is just known for his wrestling. Like, he's not, like, he did a few WWE movies, but that doesn't really count because it was through WWE anyway. But just hitting those RKOs, his great work. I thought he was fantastic as Evolution. He was such a young guy. He was so inexperienced, had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. You know, the career right ahead of him. And he still was a great heel. Him and that Mick Foley storyline back in 04 was awesome. 03, 04. Absolutely awesome. And then he won the world title and that sort of stuff. So, big fan of Randy Orton. I think he's won 14 world champions now, 2 Royal Rumbles. Like, absolutely well deserved. The guy was incredible. Like, even his later stuff, like the 2020 stuff with Drew McIntyre, that's some of the best heel work I have seen to date. World class, definitely up there. Batista, what a guy! What a guy this is. Big fan of Batista. I loved it. Like, I loved the Royal Rumble 2005, the great Royal Rumble when he won it, and you know when him and Cena went over and that. I'm gonna go B. I love Batista. I think he was incredible. Awesome guy, world class, definitely up there. I'm actually gonna tell you that. I do apologise for Rob Van Dam, but I'm dropping RBD down to C. Sorry, RBD. Sorry about that. I'm going with Batista though in B. I think he's got something else. I think he is incredible. World class, 2-time Royal Rumble, like 6-7 time world champion. But I just think he just had a missing part. Like, I actually think he's more successful in his acting career than he is in his WWE career already. I loved Batista and he was so good for what he did. But like when he returned back in like 2014, he just wasn't for me. Like at this point in time, we all moved on at this point, and I don't think he was as big enough a star as The Rock to be able to return and it be as big of impact as the way it worked for Batista. I just don't think it worked as the same. But yeah, I'm going B. I love Batista, but yeah, I'm putting him in B. I'm actually just going to say something quick with Roddy Piper. I'm going to put him in D. He was well before my time. I never actually truly saw him wrestle like in his prime or anything. I saw him in the Royal Rumble in 08. I saw the WrestleMania 21 promo, which was, to be fair, incredible with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I loved it, but yeah, it was well before my time. And to be fair, I wasn't that fussed, from what I did see. Like that WrestleMania 21 one was really funny. I enjoyed that, but other than that, one for me. So I'm gonna stick him in D. 2 world-class talents to finish off. I'm gonna go with Mick Foley first because I want to finish off with The Undertaker. And Mick Foley was probably another one that was extremely underrated. But this guy got so over for taking the craziest and the biggest bumps you'll see in wrestling to date. This guy just knew what to do. He knew that his moveset, his look, wasn't ever going to be what, the fans would like. Like, this guy was never going to get over any other way. This guy had to be the hardcore legend. Like, even back at WrestleMania 22, this guy was getting bloody speared through a flaming table with Edge. Like, this guy's a legend for just taking the craziest bumps. That was the Hell in a Cell when he got chucked off. Mesmerizing. I absolutely love Mick Foley. I do. I actually think I prefer Mick Foley to all these guys, so I'm gonna put him in A because I just think he's incredibly underrated and I love him. These are all just my opinions of the people I prefer and don't prefer, that sort of stuff. The Undertaker, I'm going straight S. I'm going to be honest with you. The Undertaker is one of the most inspiring figures in my life. The Undertaker was absolutely incredible. This guy truly believed in keeping his character for as long as possible. This man was so over, so good. He was incredible in the ring. His storytelling was good. He continued to just keep relevant all the time. But at the same time, this guy was like one of the most selfless wrestlers you'll see in the ring today. Undertaker's like one of my biggest idols. If you go from the top 5, they are my biggest idols. I'm going Hulk Hogan, sorry. I just look at that and I can't have Hulk Hogan there. I can't do it. Yeah, Undertaker's like the top 5 with Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, and The Undertaker. They're like probably my 5 favourite wrestlers. They're generally like my 5 favourite wrestlers today. Like, I love them. Like, they are mine. Honestly, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's a long video, but I really hope you enjoyed the list. If you got any other opinions on certain wrestlers and where they should be on this list, then please drop them in the comments below because I'd love to hear where. If you think I've done wrong in some ones, I do apologise. I know, like, a bit of a stretch of, like, Bret Hart and stuff in B, but for me, they just wasn't, like, the people, like, these people in B here is that they were definitely over for a lot of people, but not completely over with me. I look at these guys and just think, yeah, these guys sold it for me. They was awesome, world class, but there was still something missing that these guys got. And for that, I am grateful, and I really hope you enjoy this video, and make sure to give it a like. And if you want to see more tier videos, let me know. If you've got a criteria or a category you want me to tier list, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you all, you guys. I've got so many more ideas for tier list videos going ahead, so I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you on the next one.